Hi, this is a video about advertising. It's going to specifically focus on your assessment task and how to do it for your assessment task, but it does talk generally about advertising as well. So for this, I have relied heavily on a source. I don't often do this because normally I've got a lot of common knowledge. However, the specifics of advertising, it's been a while since I did my marketing unit at university, so I just wanted to make sure I was on top of things. So this is a source that you can use. You can go and have a look at it. I've used very, very little about it, as in a very small amount, but I think it's worth going and having a look at the site if you're particularly interested. Okay, so just like the logo, font matters, color matters, and the different types of text that you use matters. So if you haven't watched the logo video, I suggest you go and have a look at that. However, for an advertisement, it does actually matter how you position things on the page. So we call that composition. What that means is how are things put onto the page in a way that draws the reader in. All right, so the whole thing about advertising is to sell people things they don't necessarily need, and so you've actually got to make sure you're communicating to them on a range of levels, sometimes through emotion, and I'm going to talk about another one in the next slide about motivation and how we get people to think about things. So here we can see that there's light coming in on the right hand side, focusing on the person. And then we follow her eye line down, so we follow her focal point. She's the focal point of the advertisement, but then we follow her eye line down, and then that brings us into text, and then it brings us down to the text at the bottom of the page. This does follow something called the rule of thirds, where you divide the page basically into 6 little boxes, using 3 lines. So you divide the page into third, and then you situate things in various parts of the thirds, particularly on the lines of the boxes, as it draws the reader in. It's done also in art, so if you're an artist, you may already know about the rule of thirds. And because we do have the light coming in on the right hand side, our eye goes to the light first, and then that draws us to the woman. Her eyes draws us down, which puts us in the text in the middle, and then onto the blocks, then the writing down the bottom. That's called a visual path. Basically, you could just get an A4 piece of paper and put some stuff on it and then do your advertisement. However, if you think about where things go and you think about how the viewer is going to engage with your poster, you might put things in a different place and use different colours and use different texts in order to make it more pleasing and make it more attractive. The other thing you can do, of course, is actually just make it a fear of missing out. This is called in the advertising circles, and basically it's an advertisement that is trying to encourage people to come to their shop so that they don't miss out on an important sale or cool stuff, such as this advertisement here. And so that's another way of making an advertisement and drawing people into your shop. So it's not necessarily by a really cool advertisement itself. As you can see, this is quite simple, but it is quite effective. But it is about their sale and drawing people in. So for your assessment, you need to have a certain amount of requirements. So please make sure that you do read the assessment task and make sure you read the rubric. I'll say that again, read the assessment task and read the rubric. It's really, really important you read the requirements. I've put this McDonald's one here because it's kind of similar to what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to put your logo on it. So we've got the McDonald's logo there. You're going to have to advertise certain aspects of your park, which they're doing here. They're different types of burgers. They've got the different images there. There's a lot more on this advertisement than there has been in the others I've shown you. And that's important because yours is going to have a lot on it, because you also have to put down where you are, which means you have to have a map. So you need to show people where you are in your and how they get to your park and things like that. Please read the instructions on the assessment. You can also see here that this one has also actually got a promotion on it. So they've actually got their burger down there, and you cut that out as a voucher and you can go into the shop and get a bit of a discount. So they've combined a lot of the visual elements here. So they've got the rule of thirds in there, they've got the use of colour and the use of different fonts, and they've got all of that in there, giving us a lot of information, and they've still managed to get a promotion in there as well. So this was about ensuring you had an idea of how to do your advertisement for the assessment task. We'll be talking about advertising in class, and I'll be showing you some examples of theme parks actually in class. It's just important for you to understand that advertising uses a range of tricks and techniques to sell you things that you don't necessarily need. I'm not a big fan of advertising. I think our world will probably be a place without it. And advertising comes to you in all sorts of different ways these days, particularly through social media. And I think that there'd be advantages in you not having that. But that's my personal position, but we'll be talking about that in class.